Hey, what's going on, traders? This is Rob MV3 Trader back with another video to help you unlock the master trader within. In this video, I'm going to give the top 3 reasons why I recommend AMP Futures as a broker for trading futures. Alright, and actually I just realized, or I just discovered, that you can actually trade options on futures as well with AMP Futures. The main reason I like AMP Futures is because of Sierra charts. I don't think, if you've been following my channel for more than a day, that's not really a secret. But yeah, that's the number one reason why I wanted AMP Futures in the beginning, and also the number one reason why I like them now. It's more than that, but that's the number one reason. Alright, so let me stop rambling. We're gonna move over to the computer. And by the way, I just want to mention that I am not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with AMP Futures. They don't even know that I'm making this video about them. They're not gonna give me any compensation or anything like that. So I'm just sharing my opinions and my experience with them as a broker. And because I see this question a lot, I get this question a lot actually. Like, who am I trading with? And I see a lot of traders ask about different brokers or whatever. So let's go ahead and let me stop rambling, like I said, and let's move on over to the computer and we'll get into this. Let's go. Alright, so the way that we're gonna do this, before I start is going into all the details about AMP Futures, is we're gonna talk about some of the other brokers and platform, the other brokers that I have experience with, so we can have something to compare AMP Futures to. All right, so the first one that we're gonna talk about, okay, that I've traded with, or that I tried to, when I first discovered futures, I tried to open an account with this broker, which is TD Ameritrade. Well, I have an account with them, so I tried to get approved to trade futures. I see people that trade futures when TD Ameritrade, and I don't understand why. So let me go ahead and get into what I'm talking about in regards to that. So the number one reason why why I'm not a fan of TD Ameritrade for trading futures, they are great for trading stocks because no commissions and options and all of that stuff. But in terms of futures, they are not the best platform. I do kind of get it in terms of their trading platform, because Thinkorswim is actually one of my top 3 platforms that I like to use. But in terms of actually, them as a broker and trading futures with TD Ameritrade, the fees that they have is kind of expensive, right? So you can see it right here. We got $2.25 per contract. So we're not going to dive too deep in it, but still we can see that $2.25 per contract is pretty expensive compared to other brokers that are just as reliable and just as regulated as TD Ameritrade. Now TD Ameritrade is definitely a trusted brand, so I understand why someone would actually look at them for trading whatever it is that they're trying to trade, but that's the main reason why I'm not a fan of trading futures with TD Ameritrade. One, because it's not easy to set up an account with them. I don't know exactly what they look for, the requirements they look for to approve or disapprove an account. That plus their high fees, it's just not it's not even worth the effort to try to open an account with them. All right, so the next broker that we'll get into is the broker that I actually was able to open an account with when I started trading futures, which is Ameritrade. Now in terms of commissions, big difference, right? You see we got 59-cent commission, and I'm going to get into exactly how much it cost me because I was trading the NQ mini. So we're going to look at that. I was trading a lot of stuff when I was trading with Ameritrade, but we're just going to look at the NQE minis in terms of how much it costs per contract to trade round trip, and compared to what we were looking at with TD Ameritrade. Now remember, TD Ameritrade, that was just their fee, so that was just like their commission, plus the regulatory fees and all of that. But with Ameritrade, it's 59 cents per trade. So to enter and to exit, that's 59 cents a piece. So you get 59 cents to enter a trade and 59 cents to place the order to exit that trade per contract. All right. So they have actually they have some of the cheapest rates in terms of fees and commissions. that I've seen, that I have experience with futures trading brokers. So the main thing I don't like about Generic Trade is their platform. It's just not the best platform to try to trade with. Their charting is not great. It's slow, it's clunky, it doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that most of the other platforms have. So that was my number one gripe, or number one problem with Generic Trade. Once I started trading with Generic Trade, what I would do is I would use TradingView's charts to look at the charts, and then I would use the Generic Trade's web-based platform to get in and out of my trade. Also with that, it's very manual, and it's the last time I used it, now it's been over a year since I've used this platform, so I don't know if they made any upgrades or anything. But looking at the image that I can see right now, this little their screenshot, it doesn't seem like it has changed that much. But that's just my personal opinion. All right, so when I was trading with Generic Trade, I'm not going to bring this into the screen. I'm just going to say what it is. In 2018, for a full round trip trade of the NQ E-mini futures, one contract, it was $3.56 total for the fees. That's commissions, that's exchange fees, that's regulatory fees, that's everything, so per contract to enter and exit a trade, the total fee per contract was $3.56. Now that's a little bit better than what I'm paying now with AMP. It's actually worth paying a little bit more, just a few cents more, in order to get the better features. All right, so that is Generic Trade. If you want more information, I'll probably leave a link in the description below. Again, I'm not an affiliate for these people, so if you use my link, I don't get any kind of pay for it or whatever. Or you can just as easily Google it, and it's generictrade.com. It's not hard to find it. So if you want more information about them, if you're having a hard time opening a futures account with AMP Futures or TD Ameritrade or wherever else, again, I definitely would pick these. Even though it's not the best platform, I definitely would pick these, pick Generic Trade over TD Ameritrade just for the fees alone. These next two, I don't actually trade futures with them, but I just want to give you just a quick little overview of or my opinion about them as a broker as a whole. The first one is Tastyworks. Now this is where I trade my options. Now in terms of their comparing them to another platform, which I would compare them to Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim, for me, it's probably just familiarity. You have just about as much features and functionality with Tastyworks that you do with Thinkorswim. It just comes down to personal preference, which one you like over the other one. But Tastyworks does have a really good platform, and you can see with futures, in terms of futures, you can trade futures with Tastyworks. All right, so we can see the fees right here for the futures, micro futures, and small futures. There's more information in these links down here. But one thing that I may actually start doing is options on futures and micro futures. I talked about trading options on micro futures, a couple weeks ago in one of the live streams. And at first, when they opened up micro futures, when CME opened up micro futures, Tastyworks didn't have any data for micro futures. But now, I looked at it earlier this week, and they have data for micro futures, and you can start trading micro futures with Tastyworks, right? Options on micro futures with Tastyworks. So that is one thing that one reason why I wanted to highlight Tastyworks. So if you're interested in trading options on futures or micro futures, then you can do that with Tastyworks. Now moving on to the next one, which is Interactive Brokers. Now I'm new to Interactive Brokers, and I'm using Interactive Brokers basically to trade stocks, really to invest in stocks. So right here you can see the exchange and regulatory fees with Interactive Brokers for futures and forex futures and all of that stuff right there. So you do have the option as well. I just started, I have the least amount of experience with Interactive Brokers and their platform. They do have their own platform. I've used it a little bit. It's not as great as the platform, my favorite platform, but it can get the job done. So you got Bitcoin futures and all kind of stuff there. And you can also trade options on micro futures as well, because that's when I was looking, when they opened up my options on micro futures, that's one of the first places that I was able to see the data for the options on those micro futures. All right, so that's just a real quick overview of the brokers that I'm comparing AMP futures to. All right, so AMP futures. All right, so when we look at fees with AMP futures, so with AMP futures, the fee is what I would pay is $4.10, right? So that is a 410 minus 3.56. That's about a 50-cent difference, a 54-cent difference to be exact. Now, for me personally, because of how much simpler it makes my trading life, to me that 54 cents is worth it. Also, now I didn't take advantage of this. Well, I think I did kind of, but I didn't. You can actually negotiate the fees with AMP futures. If you can, you reach out to them, they will match or beat any written commission quote, right? This is what they claim, right? So I just wanted to, cover that real quick. So since we were talking about fees, and the main theme of what I've been talking about so far has been about fees, but let's get into number one reason why I recommend AMP futures. And the number one reason is the platforms. All right. So with AMP futures, they offer a whole heap of platforms that you can. They give you a lot of options of different platforms that you can trade futures with, right? And you can, get in here and filter it by whatever you're looking for. But I don't want to do that. Let me see. There we go. But here's the whole list of platforms that you have the options of choosing between in order to trade futures. Right? You see, it's a huge list. Now, how in the world do you choose and decide out of all of these? It can be kind of overwhelming to trying to make a choice between all of these options, right? Now, I've tried out multi-charts. I've tried out MetaTrader 5. Of course, I've tried out Sierra Chart. I've heard about TT platform, but I haven't tried them out. Of course, TradingView is another favorite of mine. CQG Trader, the Q Trader, I haven't tried. I tried out the mobile version, which is CQG Desktop, I believe, and our CQG I've also tried that out. And what I use CQG their platform for is if I'm not at my workstation and if I want to look at some charts, or if I need to do something in terms of trading and I'm not at my actual trading laptop, that's why I go in there and I'll use the CQG's platforms. All right, and that they do have a good platform as well. I like them as well. The CQG Trader. There's another one of these that I tried out, but out of the ones that I tried out for AMP futures, the ones that I like the best are the ones that they have highlighted here, with the exception of MT5. I'm not a fan of MT5. It's just it's personal preference for me. And then of course there's Sierra Chart. They're in multi-charts and Sierra Chart are pretty similar in terms of the amount of features that they have and what you can do inside the platform, and the amount of how you can customize your charts and everything. But again, this is if you're trying to decide between the two, they're both free. Of course, they feature multi-charts. At the end of the day, if you are trying to decide between the two, what I recommend is just trying out both of them and seeing which one that you like the best. And that's what I did, right? So when I was introduced to AMP futures, I was introduced to AMP futures by way of Sierra Chart, and I liked the way the chart, they had the chart set up and what they were showing that you could do with Sierra Chart. And then I also tried out multi-charts because they do recommend it. And as an alternative, I would go with TradingView to place trades. But my primary go-to is Sierra Chart. And if I can't get the Sierra Chart for whatever reason, then I like TradingView. And I can make a video about how to place trades on TradingView and how to trade with TradingView. If you're interested in that, just let me know in the comment section below, and I can definitely do that. All right. So that is reason number one. This is not in any particular order, this is kind of random, but that is reason number one that I like AMP futures. All right, so reason number two is the one that we've been talking about up to this point, which is commissions. Again, we can look at the commissions here. Also, in terms of fees and commissions and all that stuff, there is a data fee that you have to pay per month, and that basically depends on how you set your account up with them. So they have, in terms of getting your futures data, they have several different options. All right, so in terms of getting data, you have CQG, you have TT, right? And then there's also rhythmic. Now, if you've been following my Lilu progress, you know I'm not a fan of rhythmic. As a podcast that talks about TT, and they talk, a lot of good stuff about TT, but I haven't tried them out at this point. But myself and most other traders that I know that trade futures, they use CQG, and I'm definitely a fan of CQG. I have never had a data problem with CQG. But so the bundle fee, so in terms of getting the actual market data for your index futures or your currency futures or your oil futures or your metals futures or whatever, you got to pay for data for whichever market that sits inside of. Now they have it, you can pay for it individually, but if you're gonna do it, I would recommend just getting the bundle. You'll save, you can see right here, $10. So it is $30 a month. It was cheaper than that before. It went up just a little bit, but now it's $30 a month. And then here are the other markets that you do have to pay extra for. But I don't use any of that. There's no reason for me personally to need these other markets. All I use is CME market data that gives me all of the contracts, the futures, derivatives that I could possibly want to trade. You're going to get access to all of that within this bundle right here for $30. So that's just a personal recommendation. All right, so that's really all there is in terms of fees and commissions. I've told you about the to trade NQ. So on that, so for NQ, it is, I said, $4.10 per contract round trip. For the micros, a round trip per contract would be 78 cents, right? So in terms of fees, it definitely one of the best brokers and within the industry for trading futures. And that's the number 2 reason why I would recommend AMP Futures to someone interested in trading futures. All right, so the number 3 reason that I would recommend trading with AMP Futures is customer service. So in terms of customer service, what I mean exactly is, everything. So they have a support forum. If you do, I've only had to, reach out to their actual customer service like one time, and it was because at the time, I don't know if they still have this offer. It's kind of related to the fees that you could, pretty much pay your fees in advance if you're a high frequency trader. And depending on how frequently you trade, it could save you a lot of money if you just paid for it in advance. So at the time when they introduced that as a service, they did it automatically. Well, they gave a warning, and then I didn't pay attention to that email or that message at all. I kind of, I didn't pay attention to the email that they sent out that they were going to start that and that they were going to do it automatically. But they did do it automatically. They kicked it in automatically, and they withdrew the money, to pay in advance for the fees, the trading fees, directly from my account. Once I realized what had happened, then I just reached out to them and said that I wanted to opt out of that. So they put the money back in my account, and everything was good. It was like it took less than a day for them to resolve that problem. So they have really good customer service. You can see, you can also chat with them. You got several ways that you have to reach out to them. You can chat with them, you can send them an email, or you can call them, right? So they have very good response times, and they are more than capable of answering whatever concerns or questions that you have. From my personal experience, of course, everybody's experience is going to be different. And with every situation, you're going to get somebody who's going to be, not pleased with whatever kind of service that they received, right? So, that's just, that comes with the business. All right. Also, what I'm including in this is the amount of other additional information that they have, right? So, they got all of your information here about that you can learn more about futures. You can learn about the history, futures versus stocks, all of this, a lot of information that'll help you as a trader. The margin requirements. Let's go ahead and look at the margin requirements real quick. This is kind of goes into the fees. All right, so they have some of the lowest margin requirements as well. But if they need to, like earlier this year, we had a situation where the market experienced a lot of halts. And in those situations, they were quick to get the message out to all of their traders. The communication from the business to the customers, if I had to give it a rating, I would give it an A+. Anytime there's any information, whether it's a holiday or margin requirement changes that they have to, put out, whether that's a business decision from them, or if it's, something that comes from the exchange, or whatever, if it's a regulation thing, a regulatory thing, whatever it is, they get that information out to their customers, and quickly, as soon as they can, right? And then they give you all the information that you need to know. They'll send you emails, so you're never left in the dark in terms of any market related information that you need to know if you are a customer or if you have an account with AMP Futures, right? And then they also have some other, services that they provide. As I said before, you can also trade options on futures. They also have this feature here about auto trading if you're into that. If you're into the whole algo thing and automated trading thing, they provide that service there as well. Everything you can go through this website. There's a lot of things in here that can benefit you as a trader, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up on that note. That's pretty much the 3 top reasons why I would recommend AMP Futures for anyone interested in trading futures or options on futures, right? And just to reiterate those top 3 reasons, because I rambled a little bit, which should make editing fun. Anyway, so those top 3 reasons again are because of the many platform options that you get to trade with, the commissions, as well as the customer service. All right, so if you have any comments or questions, you already know where to leave them down below in this video. I will leave a link to AMP Futures and anything else that I talked about in this video in the description below. And if you like this information, you find it helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new to this channel and you like the information that I provide, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification button so that you know when I release another video. And on that note, I'm gone. Deuces.